So don't try to make everything so perfect, because when we try to make everything so perfect, we're not allowing ourselves the flexibility to evolve and grow.
What do you think that are the main traits of a leader? What makes a person an entrepreneur or leader?
Being visionary, having a vision, really getting clear on what that is for you. Because if you don't have your vision in place, if you don't know where you want to go, then how are you going? You can't get there, because confidence comes from keeping the commitments that we make to ourselves. And failure is going to happen, right? But turning that failure into springboarding you forward. We're failing forward, not backwards. And in those little bumps in the road, or those quote unquote failures that we think we're having, they're actually our action steps to getting us closer to where we want to go. So
Hi everyone, welcome back to the Improve podcast. Today we'll have a guest. We have Heidi Schalk. Did I pronounce it correctly?
yes, Daniela, thank you.
Heidi Schalk. She's a business strategy and leadership coach, author, a speaker, and host of the Be S.H.E podcast. Be seen, be heard, and be empowered. And she's helping women build online businesses. Could you tell us a little bit more about you and about your business?
Absolutely. And Daniela, thank you for having me here. I'm really excited to be here with you today in our conversation. So yeah, I work with female entrepreneurs, helping them build, six-figure and multi-six-figure businesses, specifically online in the virtual space. I started my business about 6 years ago when I was going through a divorce. Prior to my divorce, I had been a stay-at-home mom. And so I had, basically my role was to take care of the kids. So I took them to school, picked them up, took them to their activities. I was heavily involved in their school, where I was homeroom mom and also like co-chair of their auction committee for a couple of years. So I was heavily involved with them, but now I found myself in a space where I needed to create an income. I needed to figure out how to make money. So I knew that the one thing I wanted to make happen for myself was I wanted to be home with my kids, because I had spent so much time with them and I knew a lot of things were going to be changing in their life. But the one thing I wanted to stay consistent as much as possible was for me to be home with them. That being said, I found coaching online. I did not start off as a business strategy coach. I knew zero about business at the time, so it's not where I started. My business evolved and grew as my clients evolved and grew. And that's what I teach as well, is, where you are now in your business may not be where you are in 2 to 3 years from now. So don't try to make everything so perfect, because when we try to make everything so perfect, we're not allowing ourselves the flexibility to evolve and grow as our business and our clients do. That being said, I also worked 2 jobs as I was building my business. I didn't just jump into coaching and it, happened overnight. It was a journey, and the one that I learned a lot from. And now I take those learnings to my clients with the goal of helping them achieve their goals faster than I did, because by learning from my mistakes. So that's how my journey started, and how my business became what it is now.
Yes, you transform your mess into something useful and beautiful, I think.
Thank you. Yes, and it wasn't easy. I was very nervous. That's one of the things about my podcast called Be S.H.E, and how that evolved. If somebody would have told me 6 years ago that I would have a podcast about being seen, I would have lost everything, because I had a huge fear of being seen. And that was one of the things that held me back in my business for a long time, was that visibility piece. When I saw these coaches online, being successful, I was like, oh, they make it look so easy. It's going to be easy. And then I realized that I actually had to show up on camera. I had to share my journey, my story. I had to get really good at sharing my mess and vulnerability did not come easy to me. And so that is one of the biggest things that I work with female entrepreneurs, is really getting clear on their story, on their message. And that's why I love the podcast platform and your show, because you allow people to come on and have those conversations and share their journeys. And that's one of the things with my clients. Like, it's really important that you're getting out there and collaborating with other entrepreneurs in a space like podcasts, or in summits, or in other opportunities where you can, build relationships with other entrepreneurs and get really good at sharing your story.
Yes, thank you. I have a lot to learn, and maybe I will learn from you because you have some background in visibility. And I was wondering, how did you decide to be a business coach, not other type of coach?
Well, this is how it all evolved. As I said, it grew and evolved. I never thought I'd be a business coach. So when I first started my journey, I went into health and wellness, because prior to being married, I was in health and wellness space. I was a personal trainer and I helped people get healthy. And so that is what I knew when I started my business. So so that was, and the coach that I worked with said, do what you know, right? So I started in health and wellness space. However, Daniela, I quickly realized that it had changed a lot in the years that I had been out of the health and wellness space and being home with my kids. So it was now very niched down. It was, there was gut health. You can go keto, vegan. There's all different versions of the health and wellness space. And that was another challenge I had, was really niching down into what I wanted to help people with, because I was like, well, I can help them with everything when it comes to health. But in the online space, then it was really, and as it is now, it was really important that you find your niche. I quickly realized I didn't like health and wellness anymore. It wasn't my passion. It wasn't what lit me up. So I started looking at, well, what am I moving through? And I was going through a big transformation myself. I joined a leadership program. I was working on personal development for myself, navigating a lot of transitions that I was moving through. So I started working with women on transformation and goal setting, and really getting clear on their vision, what they want for themselves and for their dreams and for their goals, not business related, more personal related. And then as they were achieving their goals, more and more of them were saying, well, you know what? Now my new goal is I want to build a business. So, and we've been working together, and they had seen me evolving and growing my business. So that's how I stepped into business strategy, was because then as my clients were achieving their goals and now wanting to build a business, they stayed with me and I stayed with them. And that's how my business evolved.
Mm-hmm. So you help women in the first phase of their business, or also after they started their business and developed it?
Yes, I work with a lot of beginners. I have a program that's specifically for beginners, because when I started and joined a coaching program, it was really expensive for me at the time, like more than I should have been investing. And then once I got into the program, the strategy that we were taught, you needed to invest another few $1,000s into making that happen. And I was just like, I was a single mom, just newly divorced. I'm like, didn't have those extra funds. So with my Business in a Box program, we really make everything as simple as possible to launch your business, to get your stage built, like your virtual event, whether that's a masterclass, a challenge, or a summit. Like really getting clear on what would be the best event for you to, one, build your email list, because it's really important that we're building a list of buyers, a list of people who are that you can communicate with. And that comes by hosting your own event. And then I will also teach them how to get on other stages. But I give them the basics and the basic technology that they can do to get that business up and running. And then I have another program that's called my Business by Design Academy. That's more for the women once they're scaling and they're ready to bring in a team. And they want to and they're ready to add more, say, more systems into their business, then they can come into the academy.
All right, I understand now. Okay, let's delve into our today topic, and we established that we'll discuss about leadership. And I want to ask you first, what do you think that are the main traits of a leader? What makes a person an entrepreneur or leader?
Being visionary, having a vision, really getting clear on what that is for you. Because if you don't have your vision in place, if you don't know where you want to go, then how are you going you can't get there, because you need to have a plan, setting goals in order to achieve that vision. So the first thing I do when I work with clients is we get clear on their why. What is their why that's going to drive them, and what's the why that makes them cry? And what most people will say, I want to make money. And I'm like, that's great. I want you to make money too. But what is the money going to get you? What's deeper? For me, my why was I wanted to be home with my kids. In order to be home with my kids, I got to make money. But when the days get hard in the entrepreneurship journey, you need to be connected to that why. You need to be connected to your vision. So it's really important that you have a vision as a leader. Because also you're at some point when you're building a team, you get to enroll your team into that vision. And setting clear goals in order to achieve that, being in integrity, keeping your word, not only to other people, but also to yourself. Confidence comes from keeping the commitments that we make to ourselves. And every time we say, we're going to go take that walk, or we're going to go exercise today, and we don't do it, our confidence goes down because our trust in ourselves goes down. So even and if you're one of those people that maybe you do say those things, like, I'm going to do this tomorrow, and then you don't do it, then it's really time to just start small and making sure that you're holding those commitments to yourself, because that integrity with yourself is going to, roll over into your team as you build them. Having resilience, bouncing back, getting, understanding that failure is going to happen, right? But turning that failure into springboarding you forward. We're failing forward, not backwards. And in those little bumps in the road, or those quote unquote failures that we think we're having, they're actually our action steps to getting us closer to where we want to go. So there's just a few of the traits of a leader.
Mm-hmm. What is the connection between our why and our vision? We created a vision first, and then find why we want that thing, or why we want to go in that direction. How it works?
Yes. Yeah, well, the way I do it was with my clients is we get clear on their vision. What is your long-term goal or vision for the year? So if I'm working with somebody for a year, I get them to close their eyes and I go, what does life look like? What does your business look like a year from now? And I want them to talk like they're in that moment. It's a year from now. What's your business look like? Where are you going? What are you doing? Some of them are traveling first class. Some of them are speaking on stages. Some of them are working from different places because they want to be a traveling nomad entrepreneur. So it's really important that you get clear on what that vision is specifically for you, and really involving your loved ones too. If you're a mom and you have a partner and that you're building a home and that's part of your vision, then they get to be part of that vision. Then I ask, well, why do you want this? Like, what is your why? And again, it gets to go deep. We get to go deep. And most times we have to keep going deeper until we find it. And that's why I call it the why that makes you cry, because it gets to be emotional. If I don't feel that emotion from someone when they're telling me their why, then it's not deep enough. And if I don't feel it on the call, I'll give them the homework to do that, because as I said, Daniela, the days are not, entrepreneurship road is not filled with, cupcakes and roses. There's going to be days when it's hard, right? And there's going to be days as a leader of your business that especially if you're a solopreneur, like I work from home, it's important to keep yourself motivated. It's another trait of a leader. They're keeping themselves motivated. They can self-discipline themselves in order to keep going, especially on those days that are hard. So really getting connected to your vision, reading it, writing it down and reading it, whether it's daily, once a day, twice a day, and also your why, keeping connected. So when those days get hard and maybe those days show up and I'm like, I just don't know if I want to keep doing this. I'm like, wait a minute, what's my why? I want to be home with my kids. So I don't want to go to a 9-to-5 because I want to be home with my kids.
Right. And because it is our vision as entrepreneurs, and not our team members' vision, how can we communicate this vision to them, or how can our vision impact our team members?
That's a great question. And as you're building your team, it's really important when in the interview process that you're clearly, and effectively communicating what the vision is that you have for your business, for your clients, for you, for them, right? And really in making sure that they're aligned. It's really important when you're building a team to bring in people who are aligned, and that means with your vision, but also with your when you're building your brand, you have your mission statement, you have your core values. You want to make sure that you're bringing in a team members that are aligned with your core values and the core values of your business. So when you're building a business, it's important that you're laying out what are the core values of your business. For me, it's family, it's connection, it's fun. I want business. I believe business should be fun. If this is what you're building, you can make it treacherous or you can make it fun. And so that's part of our core values inside. Integrity is a big core value for me in our business. So really being clear with that yourself, and then effectively communicating to your potential team members as they're coming in, and getting them excited about it, and also empowering them and giving, I know for some beginners, when they're bringing on team members, it's hard for them to let go and delegate because they're like, well, it's just quicker if I do it, right? Or they don't do it like I do it. And it's really important as a leader that you're able to empower your team members and give them those responsibilities, and trust in them that they're the right people to do the job and that they're capable of doing the job. And that is also when you're empowering them and they're feeling like they're part of the team and they're working towards this vision with you, that's how they're going to get enrolled in your vision.
So from what I understood, is that because it's our vision, we should concentrate more on values, and this can be can be common values, because our vision is it's harder. I think my opinion, it's harder to make other people to share our own vision. They have their own visions, and the values can bring our visions together to link them. Is this correct or it's wrong?
Yes, from how you're sharing it. Yes, I agree. I believe that's the case. That's why I said it's really important that you get clear as the business owner first, what your vision is, what are the core values of your company, of your brand, and then make sure that you're bringing in people who are aligned with those core values. Because then, and also that you're effectively communicating what your vision is, and making sure that they're on board with it. And if they're not, then it doesn't mean that they're right or wrong, or you're right or wrong. It's just maybe not a fit for your company, for you, for that team member. And again, empowering them to take ownership, empowering them to trusting in them that whatever position you're putting them in, that you're going to be able to trust that they can do that, but without micromanaging them. When we're micromanaging people all the time, we're not giving them the space to also take ownership of our vision and get on board with that.
How do you think that leaders can empower their team members and get that confidence that the team members will do the things right, or they will do a good job for them?
I think the biggest thing is leading by example and having an open door policy, allowing your team in order to grow, mistakes are going to be made, right? But just allowing them to come to you or have the conversations with them. I'll go, like, if something doesn't go the way you want it to go, or it's not completed the way you want it to complete, like just having the conversation. And obviously we don't want to keep making the same mistakes. That's not effective. That's not going to help you get to where you want to go. But if somebody makes a mistake, that's how they're going to learn and grow from it. And allowing them to have that open door policy where they can come to you with ideas, right? Or challenges. And if they come to you with challenges, then also allowing them to provide a solution as well. So you're empowering them to be, part of the creative process in the business and in achieving that vision that you have.
All right. So one of the leadership principle or guidance is to empower people, right?
Yes.
What are other aspects of leadership? How can a leader can lead his or her team members in a efficient, in a good way for both the business and for the team members?
Um, I, again, it comes back to really just clearly defining and communicating what the goals are. Like it's setting goals. What are what are the goals that you want them to achieve? And what are the goals that they want to achieve, and allowing them to set their goals too, and come to you with what goals what they want to set and achieve. And you know, what does that look like for them? What does it look like for your company? And again, just having those communications, getting excited, you know, empowering them to take ownership of their position, of what they're doing inside of your company. So they feel like team. Leading by example, again, you know, showing up, and you're, as a leader, however, because everyone's a mirror of us. So our people are going to show up how we're showing up. So really just leading by example, setting your own goals and working towards them. And again, that I believe, I'm a big believer on having that open door policy where people feel that they can come in and, you know, communicate with you as the leader, and that you are going to be receptive and responsive to what they're coming to you with, you know.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. From your experience and from what you know from your clients and what you can share, of course, what do you think that are the biggest challenges of a leader, of a team leader?
I think for new entrepreneurs, the thing is there's delegation. I've seen delegation because as a solopreneur, we're doing so many things ourselves. And then as we're bringing in and building team, we need to let some things go so we can focus on our zone of genius and keep the revenue coming in. And I think for when somebody's so used to doing it all themselves, and now somebody comes in and they might do it differently, but you're bringing someone in because they could, I mean, the reason you should be bringing people in to take things off your plate as an entrepreneur is because they're better at it. They can probably do it faster than you can. So just trusting that even though they may not do it like you do it, doesn't mean it's wrong. So I see that delegation is one of the biggest challenges when it comes to somebody that's just starting to build their team out.
Yes, I think that entrepreneurs can learn from their employees too, because that's why they hire specialists, because they are experts in one field.
Right.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And of course, the employees can learn from the entrepreneur because they don't have all the skills. I myself learned a lot of in my past experiences from the people who lead me. About the challenges of a team leader, because you have been a leader yourself, can you share your experience? How was that experience for you to lead a team, and what were the challenges for you?
That's a good question. I was blessed with both teams that I led, that we brought in really good people, but I think it starts with the hiring process, like really just asking questions when you're bringing in members to your team, asking questions, being open what the expectations are, you know, asking what they're looking for as far as maybe growth, if they're looking to grow, really getting clear on what their vision is. That's part of it too. Like if we want people to be on board with our vision, we also get to be on board with their vision. So really
Mm-hmm.
understanding like what does it look like for them, for their future in the role of working with your company. And so I was blessed to have great team because we started at the very beginning with that open communication of this is what we're looking for. This is what's expected. This is the vision of where we want to go with this. What now? Asking them to like, okay, well, what is it that you are looking for by working with us? Like, is this a long-term goal for you? Or so really getting clear on what that is. And even if it was short term, if that's what we were looking for as well, then it was a match. But if we're looking for long term, growth, and those people are more like maybe they're moving in 3 months, it's probably not going to be a fit for the company. But at the same time, like I always had that open door. I asked questions. I wanted their feedback and input. I would say what's working, what's not working. That's an important piece of leadership too. And that's also an important piece of self-leadership as an entrepreneur. At the end of the day, the end of the week, what worked this week, what worked today, and what didn't work. Continue doing what's working and then tweak what didn't work. Maybe time management didn't work today. Okay, so I need to get a little more, I got to hone in on my time management. Maybe I was scrolling too much on social media today, right? So instead, I'm going to let's get clearer on my time management and time blocking. So that's how we did it, or I did it when I was building both teams. And one was for events and with an event company, and one was for customer service with a music company that I worked for years and years ago. But same strategy, but different companies.
All right. Yes, I think that managing expectation is very important, and also observing all the time what you are doing and what are the results and improving them. It's very helpful to develop constantly.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Thank you very much for being a guest here and for sharing your experience with us. How can people learn more about you and how they can reach you?
Thank you for having me, Daniela. This has been a great conversation. And thank you for this. People can find me on social media, Heidi Schalk Coaching. I'm on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram. You can also find me at my website, HeidiSchalk.com. I've got some great freebies there. I have a goal setting workbook that you can grab. I also have a mindset reset program that you can grab, and some other things on there that are, great resources that can help you for free as you're building and scaling your business. And you can reach out to me on social media and say hi. Also, the podcast. I would love for you to listen to Be S.H.E. You can go to BeSHEpodcast.com, or you can go to any of the places you listen to this podcast, and you'll find us there. And it stands for Be Seen, Be Heard, Be Empowered.
What inspired you to give this name to your podcast?
That is a great question and a great story. So I had my vision board. I set my goals for 2022, and on there was a podcast. I wanted to launch a podcast in that year. In November, it came to November, and I was like, I haven't launched the podcast yet. So I was in a rush. So I met this producer just the month before. So I called her, we got on board, we started, she started laying out all the deliverables I needed to give her to launch the podcast by the end of the year. And the first thing was naming it. Excuse me, we had to name it. And so I came up with a name, and I was targeting mompreneurs, but I didn't feel aligned with it. There was something that just it didn't feel right. So, but I wanted to launch it by the end of the year. That was my goal. But I reached out to her. I said, you know what? I'm really struggling with this. I'm not on board with the name. It was a great name, but I'm like, I just don't feel connected to it. Let's postpone, and we'll launch next year. Let's not because I was trying to push a square peg into a round hole. So at the end of the year, I went to, it was the holiday, New Year's of 2023. We were in New York. I was with my kids, and I was in the hotel room, and I woke up with morning because I was like, I want to get a title that's going to really resonate with me. And I woke up in the morning, I sat up, and I said, Be S.H.E, be seen, be heard, be empowered. And I called my producer. She loved it. And we went with that. So that's how it happened. And that's why you just, as a leader too, you've got to just sometimes we got to let things go in order to get clearer on where we want to go, instead of trying to always push and push and push.
Yes, it's a great name. I like it.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you too. Thank you for being here. It was a pleasure to speak with you.
It was a pleasure talking with you, Daniela. Thank you so much for having me.